Hi, I'm Dr. Sharon Grossman, and I'm here to talk to you today about mindfulness and the mind-body connection. So sometimes we are really stuck in our minds, and it's so important for us to understand that so much of what we are experiencing is actually also connected to our bodies. And we know this particularly when we experience pain. Sometimes people have injuries and they have pain, but a lot of the time we actually have physiological symptoms, tension, all kinds of aches and pains as a result of something emotional that we haven't accessed. I often think about this as our emotions are there to send us a message, and when we don't pay attention, they start to scream, and that's when we actually feel all kinds of things in our bodies. And so there are different ways that we tune in and that we can actually take care of ourselves that aren't necessarily just in thinking about things, but actually incorporating that connection between the mind and the body. One of the things that we try to do is become a little bit more mindful of the things that we are doing, the way that we think, and what we are feeling. So all of the three dimensions that we typically talk about in CBT, we're also thinking about here. Are you somebody who, for example, has a lot of negative thoughts? If you're trying to change the way that you think about things so that you can feel better, it's also about having the mindfulness to recognize, oh, I'm slipping again. There I go again with that thought. And to then incorporate what you actually would prefer to be thinking about. So that's mindfully noticing. It's kind of like a metacognition, thinking about your thoughts. It's also, when we talk about things like emotional intelligence, we want to be aware of how are we feeling, right? When we feel certain things, we're feeling them for a reason. So it's about being aware of what we're feeling. What are those feelings? What do they actually mean? Why are they there? What's the message behind them? And what are we supposed to do to get our needs met? So for example, if something happened and you're feeling sad, it's not about turning that off. It's about tuning into that and asking yourself, what is making me sad about this? And why am I feeling sad? Maybe what I need to do is slow down and grieve this loss that I've just experienced. And that could be the loss of a person, but it can also be a job loss, or maybe someone rejected you, or any little thing that happens in day-to-day life. So we want to really pay attention to our feelings and then our behaviors, especially when we're talking about changing behavioral patterns, incorporating new ways of being in the world. We know that it takes about 30 days to change any sort of a pattern, any sort of a habit. And so it takes mindfulness in the beginning to notice what we're doing. Now, a lot of us have lots of stress in our lives, tension in our bodies, and so one of the things that we do to start to develop this mindfulness is tuning into the body. And we do that with the breath. So one of the things you can do to get this started is to just notice your breath. Typically our breath is very shallow, so we want to start incorporating deeper breaths, maybe taking some time out every day just to sit with yourself. You can have your eyes closed, you can have some relaxing music on, whatever helps you to kind of get into that state, and to just start taking those deep breaths. And if you've got tension in your body, if you've got any sort of points that are uncomfortable, you can breathe into those areas. You can send the breath into that. And that helps you to become more aware. And you can notice how maybe the breath allows you to relax more. Oftentimes people develop these habits of coming home and drinking or smoking or doing something to help them relax because their day is so stressful. And while that might be helpful, it can also lead to additional problems. And so using a natural way of helping you relax, such as breathing or meditation, can allow you to have similar results without all the side effects. So what we do is very simple. It can be as simple as sitting for a minute even, closing our eyes and just breathing and just noticing the thoughts that are coming up. And so that's, again, mindfully noticing where your brain goes. What are you thinking about? Are there images? Are there sounds? Are there worries about tomorrow? Are you thinking about the day? And just bringing your mind back to center, allowing things to just go. because they'll be there later if you need to access them. But for right now, it's about developing that presence in the moment. So the takeaways here are really about being more cognizant of how you are in the world in terms of your thoughts, in terms of your feelings, and in terms of your behaviors. And by using the breath, we can do so in a very short amount of time, get to a point of relaxation, and be more centered.